So it's a good time to start. Yes, so I take this opportunity to welcome you all, ladies and gentlemen, to the Risk Taking Summit, a space designed to inspire, challenge, and equip us with the mindset and strategies needed to take risks effectively. This impactful event is organized by Zion Pearl Publishers in partnership with Tangaza University and the annual Africa Conference for Social Entrepreneurship. This step into their full potential with confidence and wisdom. So throughout today, we will hear from accomplished speakers, panelists who have navigated risk in their own journeys and turned challenges into opportunities. I encourage you all to engage, take notes, and connect with others, because today it is all about learning, growing, and stepping into new possibilities. So let's get started on this transformative journey together. Before we enter into the serious matters of the day, I want us to begin with a word of prayer, acknowledging the presence of God and thanking Him for the opportunity to be here today, so we can believe together even as we pray. Father, we come before you this morning in the name of Jesus with gratitude for the opportunity to gather and learn. We ask for your wisdom and your guidance even as we engage in discussions that will challenge and inspire us. May the knowledge shared here equip us to take bold yet thoughtful risks in our lives and careers. Bless our host, bless our speakers, and every participant that is here today. May this summit be a platform for growth, empowerment, and transformation. We ask all this believing and trusting in Jesus' name. And we can all agree and say, Amen, Amen. So it's a beautiful morning. Let's cheer up. Everybody, a smile on your face? Yes, look at your neighbor and give them a smile. Probably it's the first one they are getting since morning. Yes, so thank you so much for honoring our invitation. We are so honored to have you. Now, as we begin our conversations today, I want to bring to us a person behind whatever is happening today. This is the founder and director of Zion Pearl Publishers, Mr. Doso Radido, who is the man behind the She Leads project, which is the mother project to the We Took the Risk Summit. So We Took the Risk Summit is under a bigger umbrella. So I want to invite him to the platform to come and do something small to us and who we are and what we are here for today. So Mr. Doso, I want to invite you to the platform. Come say something.
Good morning, everyone. Well, I'm so grateful to be here this morning. And I just want to first begin by thanking God and then observing all protocol. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. I'm glad to meet you today. And it's good that you have been able to spare time to be with us today. My name is Doso Radido. I am the founder and director of Zion Pearl Publishers. Zion Pearl Publishers is a publishing company that has a mission to contribute to the building and the use of what we call strategic knowledge in a way that can power growth and development in our midst. The inspiration behind the work we do is the belief that every progress we aspire to make, we must have an understanding of the dynamics around creating that and sustaining it. And a bit of that knowledge comes from the lessons we are learning from our daily practice and our experiences, so that from that, we can make progress. The things that are working, we embrace and do better. The things that are not working, we learn from and discard those ones that are not useful in the times that we are living in. And so because of that, we run a couple of projects. And one of the interest areas that we have as a company is the area around leadership. Because we believe in the words of John Maxwell, who said that everything rises and falls on leadership. We so much believe in that because we know that that is true. A part of that leadership conversation is the involvement of women in leadership. And the way I like looking at it is just to call it that way, the involvement of women in leadership. I know some other experts and thought leaders have called it different names, gender inclusion, etc. I don't like the word gender inclusion because it looks at women from one particular angle. Yet when you interact with them, you realize that there are a full package of many things. Beyond their gender, there's a lot of resource inside there. So I just want to call them women and involving them in the different aspects of leadership. So one of the projects that we have done under the She Leads projects is what we are calling We Took the Risk. And our interest in this was to demonstrate the value and the need of risk-taking, because those of you who've studied issues around women and the challenges they face and the value they bring, you will actually realize that one of the big challenges that women face is the perception they have about themselves and the confidence they have within themselves. And as I say this, I so much have the African woman in mind. And this comes from the way she has been brought up and the way she has been handled and the way the society has constructed certain aspects of life, which has made it quite challenging for her to navigate, so that by the time she is showing up, she has a lot of myths behind her thinking and a lot of societal expectations she's supposed to align with and many things. Most of those things have actually been a hindrance to the release of her resourcefulness. So that the background we have as a people in Africa, for example, is that women were there to be seen and not heard. And some communities, some societies actually treated them as part of property and part of the children of the household. So it was very interesting. But a bit of that is beginning to fade away because people are beginning to see the realness of the resourcefulness of these people, and they are beginning to tap into that. And in my opinion, that is a very good thing. If you look at advanced societies of the world, you'll realize that there is a huge part of their progress that comes from the contribution that is brought onto the table by the women. And the way they work with their women, the way they tap into their resourcefulness, the way they collaborate with them is different. They take their thoughts seriously, they take their innovation seriously, they take their concerns seriously, and they take their resourcefulness seriously. And because of that, they have used that to power their own progress and to power their own growth in a way that now creates a difference between what we are calling the first world, the second world, and the third world. The story of women in third world nations, regardless of which continent of the world you're talking about, is almost similar. And it comes from the same mindset, the same practice, and the same way of dealing with that resource, which makes it difficult for us to really fully utilize the resourcefulness that comes from them. So within that whole complex, there is this whole idea of risk and risk-taking. Because from what we have seen and what we know so far is that at the point where action is taking place, somebody must be able to engage. It doesn't matter whether you are a man or a woman. And people who tend to engage more and do more are people who have confidence in themselves or confidence in the dreams they have. A bit of that comes out as risk-taking. Because a lot of the life we live comes from the point of uncertainty. We woke up this morning and we were hoping that we were going to have a Friday, and we just came here hoping that it is going to be a Friday. and we risk our lives driving on the road and coming all the way with the confidence that it shall be well, and we arrived here. Those who are afraid of the roads and afraid of vehicles and afraid of terrorism and people, maybe they are still locked up in their houses this morning. They are not risking. So that means they cannot enjoy this bright, sunny Friday. So at the point where action is taking place, somebody must be able to take the risk or to engage in action. So this is important for us because when we talk about women and our desire to see more of their engagement, and we create all the necessary platforms out here, necessary policies, necessary frameworks and infrastructure, etc., and empower them as much as we can, then once we have done everything, we now have to release them to go and plug in or engage in the things that are supposed to be done. From what we have seen, those who have sufficient confidence in themselves and are able to engage or take the risk because they have built the necessary skill set and the mindset, they are doing pretty well. Those who have issues with self-doubt and issues with esteem and self-confidence, regardless of the training they have had, regardless of the opportunities they have been given, they still are not able to fully engage and to fully deploy themselves. So at that point, then we must be able to begin to realize that the difference between those who are doing well and those who are not doing well, regardless of the trainings that they have gone through and the opportunities that they have been given, is the ability to take risk. So that in this project, we looked for women who have experience with taking risks and who can speak authoritatively about the need and the value of risk-taking. And we used their story to paint a picture of the reality of the value of risk-taking and actually the need of considering this as part of what we call critical conversation that should be able to permeate some of the programs we run, especially leadership development programs, mentorship programs, and any other conversation we have that is aimed at either preparing people for leadership or empowering people to be better in their leadership mandate. And so today we gather here to be able to engage in that conversation again. And what I like about this day is that God has allowed us to have this conversation in a training institution. We wanted it to come into a training institution because we want a bit of the signal that we come from it to go in the direction of affecting how leadership training is done or leadership capacity building is done. We are proposing that a part of the issues that are addressed in the process of leadership training, a bit of it should actually incorporate conversations around risk and risk-taking. And, scholars and trainers should find a way of incorporating this, looking at the mindset behind it, the skill set behind it, and building necessary systems and structures around people that are being trained for leadership to be able to allow them to engage in a way that that permits them to be effective risk takers. Because at the end of the day, a huge part of what we call leadership is actually just taking risks. You dream, and then you begin to plan around that, and you take risks as you hope and work towards the kind of results that you desire to see. So today is going to be a good day, and my hope is that everyone who comes here today will pick something from the conversation that is going to happen here. And I'm also hoping that some of you will be challenged and provoked. There is something that happens to us when we get provoked. There is a repertoire of energy and creativity and productivity that remains dormant in us until we get provoked by something. And when I look at my life, for example, most of the times when I have done great things is because somebody provoked me or something happened that provoked me. I remember the first provocation that happened to me was when I was a young student in primary school, and we had a teacher who had favorites in class. And I wanted to be a favorite. but I could not because my performance was not matching the expectation. And so the teacher kept telling us, these ones will be great people and they will go far and do everything, but the rest of you. So I was among the people who were being referred to as the rest. And those words really provoked me. So I wanted to prove that teacher wrong. So I decided, for the sake of this teacher, I'm going to be bright so that, so that I can prove them wrong, And the provocation worked. By the time we were clearing our primary school, I was among the top 3 students. And that provocation came to us when I was doing my class 6. So I'd spent like 5 years in that school just enjoying myself and having fun. I used to have a lot of fun because I loved sports and I played a lot. So I think I took that play into class and I forgot what we were supposed to do in class. But when the provocation came, that thing changed my life and I have never been the same again. So my hope is that some of you will pick your provocation from here, so that if you are supposed to usher yourself into the next phase of your life or the next level of your life, then this meeting becomes the trigger of that transition into your next big thing or into your next big phase of your life. The program has a list of very, very resourceful people that are going to be speaking to us. So we listen to speeches and address about particular themes and particular topics. And then we'll also have a moment of panel discussion and then Q&A. So my challenge to you is you listen keenly. If you can record the session. For me, the way I do it is I record it so that in case something happens and I am not able to pay attention to everything that is being said, when I go back to the house, I can listen to it over and over again. If you can, take notes so that you can carry something with you back home. So I wish to invite and welcome all of you to the summit and pray that by the time we are getting to the end of the day, you have picked something useful that can help you to be more productive and to achieve more than what you've been able to achieve so far. So to start us off today, I want to bring to us the VC of this institution, who is our host, and I want him to come here and do 2 things: to officially receive us in this place and give us permission to continue with the talk, because that's very important. And then you will give us your address, and when you're doing that, I want you to know that we really honor and appreciate the fact that you permitted us to be part of this community this morning and to use this facility for this, because it will go down history that this has happened here. So I'll just go through your bio briefly as I bring you to the podium, and then we will receive you here so we can be addressed by you. The VC is Professor Patrick Mwania. He's a religious priest of the Congregation of the Holy Ghost Fathers, Spiritans, presently the Vice Chancellor and Rector of Tangaza University. He holds a licentiate degree in systematic theology and a doctorate degree in theology with specialization in mission theology from Philopist Theologiske. My goodness, this one is difficult for my tongue. From Germany. He also holds an MA in African Studies from DePaul University, Minnesota, USA. He's a theology professor at Tangaza University and the Catholic University of East Africa, and an external examiner of the Catholic University of East Africa and Hekima University College. He's an external examiner for the postgraduate studies in the Catholic University of East Africa, main campus, and Hekima University College in Nairobi. Among his publications are a book by the title, The African Woman as an Agent of Evangelization, Her Role and Function in the Mission Activity of the Church in Africa, published in 2009. He has also published another new book, a newly published book, Church, Salvation, and Religions in 2016. Professor Mwania has published numerous articles in book chapters, different periodicals, and significant peer-reviewed journals across Africa and Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to help me bring him to the podium. So let's put our hands together and receive Professor Patrick Mwania as he comes to the podium. Come on, let's give him a round of applause until he gets here. Come on, you can do better than that. Thank you so very much. Karibu sana. Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Most welcome to Tangaza University. Maybe before I give my opening remarks to this important conference, I want to say something very brief about where you are, because some of you might be new here, some may be here for the first time. And I think it's important that I introduce the institution that I head. Tangaza University is a Catholic institution of higher learning. Of course, is a university, one of the private universities, chartered universities in the Republic of Kenya. Though Tangaza has existed for many years as a university college, and the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. It was last year, 2024, on the 2nd of May, that the university received its own charter, becoming therefore an independent university in its own right. And here at Tangaza, of course, we offer a variety of programs at different levels, at undergraduate and postgraduate, master's and PhD. 3 schools are in the university. We have the School of Philosophy and Theology, School of Arts and Social Sciences, and also the School of Education. So as you can see, in those 3 schools, we have diversity of programs that are offered in that. And so for those of you new to Tangaza, as I said, Tangaza is a university of choice for many, and is a university where we treasure a quality education, but also education that translates very well with what are the needs of the market out there. Having said that about the university, I appreciate the introduction that has been given about me, and I think that will suffice for now. Maybe when we have more time, we can interact more to know each other slightly more. Otherwise, I really take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, to welcome you to Tangaza University and to tell you that Tangaza is a home for you, at least for today. Feel at home, make yourself comfortable, and make sure that the facilities that we have will facilitate your day, making it a comfortable and a successful one. It is my honor to welcome you to Tangaza for this conference on risk-taking, women leading with impact. We are here to celebrate the transformative power of risk-taking. I'm also learning to take risks. As the Vice Chancellor, you know that how important that is, particularly through the lens of women who have dared to step into the unknown, challenge the status quo, and create impact in their fields. At Tangaza University, our mission is to provide a transformative education that prepares learners who will shape society. That's why we are here. That's what we exist for. Leadership is about vision, courage. It is about the willingness to take risks, to embrace uncertainty, and to act decisively in the face of challenges. This is why today's topic speaks to the leadership education of Tangaza. We believe that risk-taking is a competence that must be cultivated, nurtured, and celebrated. It is inspiring to see how women across industries and sectors are breaking barriers are driving innovation and leading change. Their stories remind us that risk-taking is the path to creating new opportunities. Today will inspire us to rethink what it means to take risks and to see risk-taking not as something to fear, but as necessary step towards growth and transformation. And I like the theme for today, the value of risk-taking as a strategy for growth and leadership success. For Tangaza University, ladies and gentlemen, this conversation is deeply aligned with our values. Through our leadership and business programs, we aim to develop leaders who are not only skilled, but also courageous, leaders who are prepared to take risks to drive change. Social transformation, for which Tangaza stands for, require the courage to dare, open new paths, challenge the status quo. I believe that this conference is an opportunity to enrich, to gain insights from industry, to build partnerships that bridge academia and the market, and to create an environment where risk-taking is seen as a vital leadership competency. We are also proud to partner with organizations like Zion's Published, who share our commitment to empowering women leaders and fostering a culture of innovation and collaboration. Together, we can develop training programs, short courses, and professional development opportunities that meet the needs of women leaders and equip them with the tools to thrive in this ever-changing world. This event is an opportunity to reflect on our own risk-taking journeys and contribution to creating impact. We need to explore how we can, as individuals and as institutions, create a culture that supports risk-taking for impact. Let us therefore use this conference as a platform to learn, to inspire one another, and to commit ourselves to fostering a culture of courageous leadership. Together, we can empower the next generation of leaders, women and men, who will take risks, drive change, and create a better future for all. Welcome all to Tangaza, and have a very fruitful day. Thank you.
Well, thank you so very much, sir. Let's give him another round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for receiving us here well, and thank you for assuring us that we are in the right place in safe hands. So without much ado, I'll hand the meeting back to Dottie, who will guide us on the next steps. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mr. Doso. Those who are just joining us, hello. Good morning. Thank you for honoring our invitation. We are so honored to have you. And we are just starting, so you don't miss. Continue with our program for the day. So we are entering into the core matters of the day, and at this point, I'm going to invite to the platform Eunice Ongele, who is going to take us through the upcoming sessions. We have a great lineup of speakers today. You just want to stay alert, take some notes. By the time you're exiting that door, I can promise you, you won't be the same person who came in. Something is going to be different. So Eunice, you're very welcome. We are also streaming the event on our YouTube channel, Zion Pearl Global Network. If you want to share with a colleague who is unable to be here today, you can just give them that channel. They can log in and also be part of the conversation. We're also on LinkedIn. If you want to share something about what is happening today, we're at Zion Pearl Publishers on LinkedIn, and the hashtag is We Took the Risk Summit. So let us publicize this thing. Let us have more people joining, as much as they may not be here in person. Since we are live, it is possible for them to be part of the conversation from wherever they are. So wishing you all a very informative session, even as we enter into the next session. Karibu, Eunice.
Thank you, Dottie, for bringing me to the podium. I am very grateful for this day. It has started very, very well. My colleagues are here, my fellow co-authors. So my name is Eunice Ongele, and I am going to pick from what Mr. Mani had said about women that I wrote the book. So basically, I'm a woman of impact. My role basically spanned over 20 years in the commercial space. I'm very passionate about growing businesses and growing individuals. So I do a lot of coaching and mentoring for individuals who want to grow in the corporate space. Now, we are going to start off with one of our co-authors who is going to give us a snippet of risk-taking. Basically, her topic is on understanding risk-taking, redefining and repositioning ourselves. Her name is Debbie Hassan. So let me just give a bio about her. So Debbie Hassan is a dynamic force in media, entertainment, and women empowerment with over 15 years of expertise. A storyteller at heart, she's a co-founder of Doyen Women, and she is woman, creating impactful platform for mentorship, learning, and advocacy. Her extensive experience spans event management, event planning, corporate branding, and championing initiative that inspires and uplifts women. So, Debbie, we welcome you to the podium to give us your speech.
Thank you so much, Miss. So I'm an event planner, as you've been told, so we come prepared for anything. So I actually have a presentation for you guys. Oh, it's lovely to see everyone. I'm happy to be here. I would like to thank Zion Publishers for coming up with this particular summit. We appreciate it. Also as well, Tangaza University hosting us. We really appreciate that. You okay? Okay, as she continues, what do we understand about risk-taking? I know it's a word we like using and just throwing it all over, but what do we discuss when we discuss about risk-taking? Risk-taking is obviously essential for business, career growth, and personal development. Of course, traditionally, when you hear risk, you want to avoid it. That's how we've been raised. When you hear the word risk, you're like, it's too risky, walk away. It doesn't matter what the level of the risk, but even if it's a small risk, you've just been taught how to embrace it. But what is risk, ideally? Risk is a decision that involves uncertainty with potential for both rewards and setback. Something you have to do, but you're not sure how it affects. Is it going to affect you in a positive manner? Is it going to affect you in a difficult manner? And that brings us something about having a calculated or a reckless risk, knowing where or what actually matters. So why is risk-taking important? Risk-taking is important because it actually drives personal and professional growth by, of course, pushing your boundaries. You're able to push yourself from your comfort zone. It enhances your problem-solving skills and adaptability, and it leads to higher rewards when it's successful and valuable lessons, and when it's not, you also learn something else about yourself. So what are the common barriers to risk-taking? Of course, we all know fear of failure. This is the key for most women. we always fear to move forward. That fear paralyzes us. Not even just women, even the men. I'm pretty sure these are the things that actually affects you. And there's certainty. And certainty actually can actually cripple you into making a decision. Of course, lack of confidence. Like to things to remain the way we are. And of course, to respect change. What I am happy or lucky to have is that I'm very good at risk taking. Every time I always try to elevate myself in different positions, regardless of where I am. Be it coming for this summit, I push Dottie to be the first one. When it be like that, you just push yourself always, even though sometimes the fear is there. And the more the fear is there, the more I push myself out there. Of course, perceiving high stakes without adequate risk assessment. Those are the common barriers that you have. And analysis before making a decision. Don't just jump into situations without knowing exactly what you need to do. Also, start small. Having manageable risk makes you, doesn't overwhelm you in the decision making. And you're able to grow your tolerance over time. You're able to do maybe one step, the second step, the third step. So it gives you time to grow on your risk taking. Obviously, we always talk about mentorship. And I know a lot of us actually go through mentorship with our mentors. I will encourage, even if you don't have one, it's good to have a mentorship. Someone who can push you, someone who can guide you, someone who can actually explain to you what is in front and what you need to do. Of course, you also need to be prepared for the different outcomes. What if it doesn't work out, or what if it has? Have contingencies planned. I always say you always have a backup to a backup to a backup plan. So you have 3 backup plans before you do anything. It really helps in whatever you do. So what are the type of risks? I know we have a different type of people here in the audience. So we have maybe, are you in business? You have a business risk. How do you expand into new markets? How do you invest in technology? And you, of course, are forming strategic partnership. These are some of the things that actually really help. If you're in career, do you change industry or do you remain? Are you able to stick in your particular job? If you, let's say if you're a teller in a bank, and you want to be a teller for life, no. So are you willing to take the risk to move to a different department or to do a different bank, or actually now move totally to a different industry? Or your background in finance, maybe you can be able to move in a totally different, you can join the NGO, you can do anything. You have to have the legend, the strength, the courage to do those, taking that risk. Asking for promotion. We all know that. We're all scared. Don't tell you scared of testing. We're all scared when especially as women, when we're having a conversation about money, we always shy away from it, regardless of what you're doing. Even if you're the work and you are the best employee, and another man maybe, or somebody else who's earning more than you, and you know you're better than that person, you'll always feel the fear of talking about, I need to, please add me more money, I need to be able to grow. And most of the thing, it's not a risk taking, but it actually is. Asking and standing up for yourself is a risk that you have to do. Of course, everyone in careers, they always want to have a side hustle. How many have a side hustle? They did thrive. Or you're still like a side hustle, you're like, can I do? No, what if my work happens? Then you always doubt yourself. You're like, you don't want it to grow so much, but also you want it to grow. So you're your feelings are caught in between. You want it to grow, but you're like, hey, can I do it? What if it doesn't work out? But anyway, what if my boss sees what I'm doing? Then what if it affects me? So you have a lot of questions, and you forget that you need to push yourself from that fear and actually do your entrepreneurial journey. When you talk about personal development, risk-taking, of course, public speaking and networking. How many have gone to an event and actually sat in front of people and talk about yourself? We are very scared to open up about the people we are or the personality you have. So if somebody comes and asks you, what's your name? That's easy. But what do? You draw a blank. Because also you don't want to appear like you're bragging, and maybe you are the MD of a certain company. Or you're the CEO of another company, or the chief operating officer of another company. Even if you're not even high position, It doesn't matter. You are an individual who actually makes things work. You need to be able to do that. And you're able to need to grow and to make yourself be able to speak to people. Of course, pursuing further education, we always say, I don't have time. What if I fail? What if I do all these things? So you avoid, basically what it means is you avoid to put yourself in situations where you don't feel you have control over. That means you don't want to take the risk because you don't know, you are uncertain about what you need to do. Shrink. You avoid taking what you need to do. You try to fit into the box that you have created yourself in your head. So you're afraid to move forward, and you're able to first taking. Not. It's about learning and growing. If it succeeds, that's good. We need to look at failure is not the opposite of success, but a stepping stone towards it. They always say, if I remember, Thomas Edison tried 1,001 times before he actually be able to do the light, right? The bulb. So why would you assume you can do it the first time, or the second time, or the third time? If it's something you believe in, just put your whole heart into it. Of course, you have different types of risk. There is the strategic risk, which is the calculated risk, where you're able to sit and think it through and plan on it. Of course, it's usually backed by data, expertise, and calculated steps, and involves preparing for potential failures and recovery strategies. Is when you actually don't take time to think it through. Oh, let's do this. You just put all your money into First, we know individuals who take career risk gain new skills, opportunities, and influence faster than those who do not. But also encouraging, when you take risk as a tool for change, it allows business and professionals to thrive in evolving markets. We will always encourage you to use risk as your competitive advantage. You always know the people who always stand out are always the people who take risk. When you're talking about overcoming the fear of risk, how do we overcome it? First thing, everyone always says is about mindset. Mindset is key to a lot of things. So change your mindset from the fear of failure to excitement for growth. Accept that every successful person has failure at some point. You are not perfect. Learn to appreciate that you're not perfect and you're able to not grow from it. Of course, surrounding yourself with the risk takers and mentors who can provide guidance, and recognizing the biggest risk is often taking one at all. Always remain in your yourself. So what do you do after repositioning after risk? What if this risk succeed? Of course, you scale up and sustain the success. Expand on what worked and strengthen the strategies for continued growth. If the risk fails, pivot and adapt. Don't let it hold you back. And that is one thing what most people actually does. Once your risk doesn't work out, what happens is that you go back to your comfort zone. You don't want to go and do anything. Of course, building resilience and future proofing. Learning from failure is very crucial for long-term success. Of course, continuous learning and adaptability are key to staying relevant. So, of course, I gave out a few case studies about leaders who took risks and successfully repositioned. We all know Netflix. We all watch Netflix, most of us. Netflix and chill, right? But did you know Netflix started as a DVD rental service? But what did he do? Reed Hastings is the owner of Netflix. He saw the decline of physical media. What did he do? He took the risk to pivot into online streaming and decided this is the way I go. Where is Netflix right now? It's a global leader in digital entertainment and content production. Let's look at Starbucks. Starbucks is, everyone knows of Starbucks, even if we've not drunk from Starbucks. But the brand has grown massively. It was just, it took a coffee because it was a coffee bean retailer. It wasn't a cafe when they started out, but they converted it into a cafe experience where people get excited. Everyone will say, oh, you're drinking Starbucks, you're drinking Starbucks. So you associate it with that experience. And that's how they're able to change on what they were, from premium coffee experience and of course digital innovation. Amazon, we all know Amazon. You've used Amazon. But Amazon started as an online bookstore. But of course they took a time and diversify into e-commerce, of course cloud computing and AI. Where now we're able to now purchase a lot of things on Amazon. And it's one of the most influential and valuable companies in the world. Virgin Group, we all know of Richard Branson. Of course, he's been in every industry. Let's talk about music, airlines, space travel. He's joined all this without even having any, he's not a musician, he's not a pilot, he's not an astronaut, but he entered into these industries with all his heart. Of course, there are failures in everything. He tried to make a Coca-Cola, called it a Virgin Cola, didn't work out. But that's okay. That means it did not stop him from doing what he needs to do. He's still able to control and control all the others, conglomerate and outlive. So I think from what we've discussed, risk is a necessary component of progress and success. We have no choice but to take risk. And redefining risk allows us to see it as an opportunity rather than a threat. Always remember, risk is not a threat. It is an opportunity for us to grow. And always remember, repositioning ensures that every win or loss contributes to future success. So when we call to action for everyone, what risk are you willing to take in your business, career, and personal life? And kindly, please, start viewing risk as growth strategy rather than a step back, and take a calculated risk and always have a plan to reposition. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie, for that presentation. The take home, I'm sure you've taken some notes from what she said. Some of the things that I have learned from her is build resilience and future proofing. Now, you gave us examples of some of the leaders who took risks and the outcome we've seen it. So locally here yesterday, I had the privilege of listening to the CEO of M-Pesa. And he gave us a story about Fuliza, when Fuliza was birthed, basically. And initially, he's the one who approved it locally, but it needed to be approved globally. And when they presented that case to their bosses globally, they'd already launched it. And the global bosses were not quite convinced about it, so they came to Kenya to actually come and interrogate this new thing. And since they'd already launched it, there was some data that they were able to see. And they used that data to convince the top management that that was a good decision that they made. Now, everyone now knows about Fuliza, and I'm sure every one of us have ever used Fuliza. So some of those innovations that people do, it's a risk that he took for his role. And here he is, he's able to talk about it, that he took it and it has worked perfectly well. Thank you, Debbie, for that. Now, we are going to take a small break. And as we take the break, it's an opportunity for us to also network and get to know who are in the room. So I'm giving you a small challenge. You need to know at least one person in the room. And the challenge would be, think of yourself in a boardroom. What would be your superpower? What is that thing in the boardroom that really is a superpower that you can say, yeah? So tell it to the next person, give them your name, and then say your superpower, and then after the break, you can be able to share a few of those. I'll give you an example. It's very, very easy. My name is Eunice Ongele, and my superpower in a boardroom is to listen to the non-verbals. So when I sit in, I'm able to tell without really hearing what they're saying. So that's a challenge. We have a 10-minute break. I think we were told where the ladies were. I was not paying attention. Can you come and tell us again where they are, if you don't mind? It's good to us to know where we are going, but it's a 10-minute break. We should be here after 10 minutes.
Thank you, Eunice. My superpower is the ability to analyze. I'm very analytical. So if I was in a boardroom, I would probably be in a position to foretell the outcome of everything before it comes to happen. So we are both ladies and gentlemen. So I'll give us direction to the ladies and to the gents. So if you get out of that door, just immediately on your right-hand side, we have the ladies' washrooms there. But if you proceed right ahead on that corridor, just before you get to the last door, there is a door that is directly ahead of you as you walk forward. Also on your right-hand side, there is a door with a paper pinned on it written, "Keep this door closed." Men, you can keep that door closed. So that is for you. So those are the two places that we can take our biological breaks. Also just to let us know that we have a cafeteria somewhere up there. If you get out of this building and turn to your left, you will get a pavement. You can walk upwards. Ahead of you, there is a cafeteria in case you need to buy something. Looking forward to seeing you in the next session, and you can share your superpowers. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hello, let me have your attention here. We want to open the second session now. And before we left, I'd given you guys homework. Hope you guys remember the homework. Yeah? What is your superpower? Even if it's not in the boardroom. So I need a volunteer to tell me what their neighbor's name is and what their superpower is. We're learning from each other. Who's going? Wow. Thank you. Yes, because I'm not too sure how long this goes.
Everybody. So my neighbor's name is Joyce, and her superpower is organization. Yeah, getting people together and making things work.
Thank you. It's a lovely name. I think Joyce. No, you come here and tell us. Good morning. She's a community mobilizer. Thank you. Yes.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, so I've interacted with two neighbors. The first one is Sarah. She's from Gabon. She is a student here, and her superpower is wanting, or her desire is to help women in her country so that they can be able to start something of themselves and bring to them something that they can be able to put food on the table. And my other neighbor, who is Winnie, she serves as a customer experience staff. So maybe she can be able to express herself better, but she is good at making communication to other people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All the way from Gabon. Would like to hear from you. Who did you interact with? Hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but this is an opportunity to shine.
Hello everyone. So my name is Sarah, come from Gabon, and my superpower I think is to help women who live on the streets by ensuring economic empowerment. And I've talked with Lillian, who is a communicator, career coach, yes, and Ndoko, who is a beautiful woman who wants to help somebody who wants to create their own businesses and their own jobs. So I think our superpower is to building communities. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody from the middle here? Ladies and gentlemen, a gentleman would like to come also and give us a superpower. Any other volunteer? My co-authors, you guys have to volunteer. One person to come and tell me what their superpower is to their neighbors. Prim, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Primrose. I go by Prim. It can be a bit mouthy. And so it's a pleasure just to stand here before you and share the knowledge that we have. I think you guys need to know that. And I hope at the end of the day, you will take something home. And so I spoke to Priscilla, two peas, but we are not two peas in a pod. We are totally different. Her superpower is mobilizing. She's the kind of person who, and I've also realized that from her, she was laughing when I told her, she's never afraid to go and just rally people around. Well, I'm the total opposite of her. So Priscilla is also a mobilizer like you. Maybe you should find each other over lunchtime. You might find a common interest. While I am the observer and listener like Eunice, who will observe, who will analyze, and get back to you. I think that's all.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys for volunteering. Basically, what you were trying to demonstrate that everyone has a strength, and it's important that we identify our strength and actually tap into that energy. And that energy is what propels us, especially when you were taking a risky decision. It reminds you where you want to go and constantly, keeping you in check. So the ones who did not come on board, I'm sure you have something that you'd written. Now, I'm taking you now to the next session, which is what brought us here. And the topic, as we had indicated, is effective risk-taking. So what are those strategies that people are putting in place to have, to effectively take risk without, Hassan had told us about the different types of risk. There are those which are cultivated, which are, how do you call it? Calculated. That word had gone out of my head. And some can be reckless. So what are those strategies that we put in place? I will start off by introducing my panelists who will come here, and we will engage on some of those topics under risk. And we are calling it unscripted. I've not shared the questions with them. So they'll come here and be very authentic on the topic around risk-taking, and we will learn from them. All of them are co-authors. I don't know whether we are going to be introduced that way. We are co-authors of this very interesting book called We Took the Risk. And I think let me take that opportunity, this opportunity to just introduce all of us who wrote the book so that you can at least engage with us even beyond this session. So all of us who are the co-authors, perhaps kindly an opportunity for us to just stand up and be seen before I introduce the panelists. Thank you for standing up. So we start with Joyce. At that corner over there, she'll be joining us later on to talk more about challenges when it comes to risk-taking. You've heard from Debbie. You're going to hear from Elaine. We have Judy over there also. You're going to hear from her. Primrose has just spoken a few minutes ago, and we have Priscilla. Now, thank you, ladies. It's important that they understand who we are and where we are sitting in front here. You'll be wondering who are these in front. So I will start with Elaine. I'll introduce her and just read her bio briefly so that you can understand who she is as she comes to the podium. Elaine is a founder of Kiri Consultants, a social enterprise dedicated to supporting SMEs and startups through tailored business services and strategic communication. The company has supported over 200 businesses in their journey towards sustainable growth. With a background in business management, Elaine is passionate about fostering innovation, empowering young women entrepreneurs. Her initiatives such as Digitize Hubbies and the Venture Market Expo has been instrumental in equipping entrepreneurs with tools they need to succeed. Beyond her professional life, Elaine is a foodie who enjoys exploring different African cuisine. She's also a mentor, a connector, having been part of organizing committees for international forums like Africa Summit for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, TEDx Kisumu, and East African Poetical Battle to bring together brilliant minds and drive positive change. Let's welcome her with a clap. sitting. Okay, my next panelist is Judy. Judy is a seasoned executive with over 18 years of experience in technology and telecommunication industry. Judy has supported major technology companies in the development of products and services from ideation to implementation, fostering strategies and driving business revenues. Judy is passionate about driving connectivity across Africa to create a sustainable economic impact by accelerating digital transformation, as well as cultivating a business culture that emphasizes equity and inclusion. Judy obtained a bachelor degrees in international business in France, so she parles le français, and her master degree in La Salle University in US, and continues to pursue various certifications from renowned international institutions. Welcome, Judy. Another clap as she comes up. Thank you, ladies. The next one is Priscilla Kerebi. Priscilla is a dynamic entrepreneur, marketing professional, a gender equality advocate with passion for youth skills development and vocational education, co-founder of Edisource Africa Limited and vice chair of KEBSA Education Sector Board. She champions policy, advocacy, sustainable development, and inclusive framework. Priscilla is also an author, consultant, and health advocate through Nankopir, I hope I pronounce it well, Afia Foundation. Let's all welcome Priscilla. Okay, a round of applause to them again, just to set things rolling. Hello? Okay. Thank you, ladies, for joining me for this panel. I'm also a fellow co-author. I don't know whether I mentioned that. So we were 14 of us. Some of us, they're still coming, but some are also caught up at work. But we have a lovely book that is stationed out there, Dottie? Yeah. This is it. So we have copies out there that one can be able to purchase. So when you come out, please ensure that you come up with a copy. All right. So we will start off with our panelists. And as I mentioned earlier, it's very unscripted, so be authentic with your responses. There's no right or wrong. We are all learning from each other. And it's an opportunity also to impact knowledge to our fellow audience and learn from them. There'll be an opportunity to ask questions, so kindly you can be jotting them down. And once we're done with the session, we will open it up. But if you have something that is very burning, you can always raise your hands up and then we tackle it. Okay, so I think I'll just start from Judy over here. And the first question would be, in your understanding, what is effective risk-taking? How would you, talk about effective risk-taking?
You said Judy, but it's fine. It's fine. I'll go ahead. Yeah, so I think I want to start with context. So about 3 weeks ago, I was called by one of my partners, one of people we've worked with. I've worked with this person for over 20 years. So when they called me and they told me, I have someone in my office who needs your help. I was like, okay, so what kind of help? So in my space, I do quite a bit. And that's why I brought this book here to encourage you guys to buy. So you can learn about me and everyone else and all the other co-authors. So this particular, whatever we were talking about, it was an event. So I'm in the space of, we do student recruitment for universities. We facilitate student recruitment for universities and colleges. So this was a company from outside the country, and they needed help for us to help them mobilize students to come to this event. So when she came, she realized that whoever she had spoken to had not done what they had agreed. So she was panicking that she wouldn't have the crowd or the students to come in, because they were featuring undergraduate, but mostly postgraduates. They wanted university students. So, and the person was really, really desperate. So I was like, okay, this is really short notice, because this call was on a Thursday and the event is on a Monday. So I told them, this is really short notice. I'm not sure I can be able to do that kind of mobilization. But I have one or two other partners who I can call, and they can quickly mobilize their students. But what they normally need is facilitation, at least pay for the bus, give them lunch and whatever, the students. So because this external client was so desperate, she said, yeah, no problem. Where am I going with this story? Risk. So I only offered to help because of the person who had recommended them. Remember, the person who recommended them, I've known them for 20 plus years. So I would not doubt that that I should help this other external person. So I happily helped. And then when the students got to the venue, I'll just say in Swahili, she rukas me. She says, I have no money. So did I take risks effectively? Maybe in hindsight, now that I think back, I should have asked more. I should have asked for a contract. But looking back, it was a really minimal risk. And the plan was that going forward, we were supposed to partner. Because she was like, I don't want to keep coming to Kenya. I need a local representative. And that's a business opportunity for me. So that's why I said, okay, and since you've been recommended by somebody I know, why not? So now thinking back, maybe I should have done more risk analysis with this person. So yeah, so for me, that's my story of, it's the most recent that I can remember. So that's hard look at risk taking. So maybe I didn't do due diligence. Maybe I should have done more. And like you said, for us to be authentic. So I'm just saying sometimes we are vulnerable. This person is very desperate. They kept calling and calling and calling, you know. And eventually I ended up paying for that. So yes, that's my risk taking.
Judy, you could go. You can hear me? So just going back to what Priscilla was talking about, I think I would sum it up with effective risk taking is essentially thinking about whether the risk achieves its objective. So what was the reason? You'd start by asking yourself, why am I taking that risk? And then now doing the things that you're talking about, which is the due diligence, the analysis, you know, asking the right questions, and then seeing if that will lead you to taking that risk. And if you do take that risk, whether you will achieve what you wanted to achieve. So if it's from a career perspective, if you're trying to be an executive in a company, then are you taking all the, you know, the requirements that you need to get there? So the education, are you taking the right roles in your company? Are you exposing yourself enough so you could be recognized as, you know, a leader in that company? So I think those, for me, would be the definition of an effective risk-taking, is thinking through what you want to achieve, and then now taking the steps to get there.
Okay, so for me, just to add on what my colleagues have said, for me, I would like to take it from the ground up. So for you to be able to take a good risk, number one, you need to know, you need to have an idea of what you want to achieve. And that for me goes to goal setting, or rather having a vision board. So you really need to know what you want to achieve. For example, if it's venturing into a new business or a career, you actually need to have an understanding of what sector you want to venture into. So you don't, for calculated risk, you probably have a list of 10 ideas that you want to venture into. If you decide to do all of them at once. To me, that's not a calculated risk. So the number one thing you probably need to do, just do a very good research, and then have an idea of what you want to venture into. And then once you have a clear goal, a clear understanding, then now you can apply all these other risk-taking strategies.
Thank you, Len. So I'll still hold the mic just for a bit. You've talked about, I think, timing, basically. First of all, having your goals in and knowing exactly what you want, have your priority list, I believe. When it comes to timing, how important is timing when it comes to taking risk-based decision? And how do you know when it's the right time? Because sometimes we find ourselves having all these things that we want to do, but we are procrastinating or still, going around it and not really making some steps. When do we know that this is the time for us to move?
This is quite an interesting question, because when it comes to timing, it's usually different for everyone. So you can't say that this is the right time for me. I took, for example, I took my risk when I was 20. So you're 20, you need to take your risk at that age. So it's different for everyone. And mostly it comes from, number one, I would want to say instincts. When it is time, women, you're blessed with the instincts. We have the sixth sense. So number one, you will definitely know. It sounds a bit cliche, but trust you me, you will know when it is the right time to make a new step. Then another thing, mostly based on my experience, is that you will not feel comfortable in whatever position you're in. You'll just feel like, no, I'm not supposed to be here. For example, if it's a certain position in the company, you'll just feel like you're probably tired of that position, or you have outlearned everything you need to learn in that position. So you'll feel that you really need to move. You just need a different environment. So to me, number one is that exhaustion. And number two, still based on my experience, you'll feel that these things are not working out. You're trying this is not working out. So for me, that's when the time you need to probably venture into something else. So yeah, I know my colleagues are going to chip in into this.
Yes. Who wants to go? I think Eileen has summarized, because I feel like you know when to take risk to leapfrog. So maybe you've been doing something for a while and you feel like you now need to move to the next level, or you have seen there's a new opportunity and you probably need to, for you to be able to take it on, you maybe need to improve on your career. Take another course, maybe expand your business partners. So it's I think taking risks now when it comes to timing is now you're at a point where you want to leapfrog either an idea, if it is in terms of family, maybe you've gotten an opportunity out of the country and you're looking at your family and wondering, will I be able to do it? So I think time, like Eileen said, there's a lot that has to go with it. I think apart from you as an individual, you look at who else your risk at that particular time is going to affect.
Would you like to add? Okay. Just add a final thing. Another thing that has just come to my mind right now is that when it comes to the right time, opportunities will always present themselves. Like you'll be in a room and then this person just says, but there's an opportunity somewhere, we are looking for blah, blah, blah. Like opportunities will always find you. So ukiwa, sorry, I'm tempted to speak in Swahili. Ukiwa in a room and then people are just talking about these ideas, nini, that's when you know that you probably need to make that step.
All right, ladies, thank you for that. So it means that risk-taking is different for everyone, but the main thing is check what status you are in. Do you want to pivot? Are you exhausted in where you are and you want something new? Are you sniffing the opportunities in the room? Because sometimes they present themselves, and if you're not very keen, they will move without you, tapping into them. So it's very important that you're very alert, very, I believe, very prepared, because we are told about preparedness and opportunities and what happens after that. Okay. Now, we talked about timing. There's also this very interesting way of looking at risks, and it's the use of data. Judy, you are in the technological space. What role does data play in making risk-based decisions? And do you rely on your instincts, or do you rely on the data, or do you mix the two?
Yeah, so I think taking risks it's not just data-driven. You asked about taking instincts. I think, yeah, that definitely plays a big part in it. And just to add to your previous questions about timing, data also adds to timing. So if you're thinking about when you want to take a risk, you do a lot of analysis. So you're looking at environmental factors, you're looking at what's going around you. Aileen talked about opportunities presenting themselves. How you make a decision on whether you should take that risk or not is you're analyzing the data that's around you. You're looking at the pros and cons, you're weighing factors, you're thinking about the effect. So, if I take this risk, what would I achieve? If I don't, then what am I losing out on? So again, all of this is data-driven. We've been hearing data is the new oil, data is king. You cannot make decisions without analyzing data. And data is not just numbers, it's everything. It's intrinsic, it's everything that's happening around you. You're collecting information, you're documenting that information, and then you're using that information to make the decision that you want to take, right? And so now that decision is basically, you're trying to see whether it's something you're comfortable doing or whether you are uncomfortable doing it. So if you're uncomfortable, that's probably a risky situation for you. And that's when you'll be encouraged to maybe step out of your comfort zone and then go back to now looking at if I do step out of my comfort zone based on all the information that I've gathered and everything that I've been informed or been given by the people around me, can I go ahead and achieve what I wanted to achieve? Which goes back to the original question about effective risk, is it really has to achieve what it is that you want to do. If it's not achieving that, then you're just wasting your time and you're taking uncalculated risk and probably setting yourself back. So I would say, yes, data is critical to any risk-taking strategy.
Okay, thank you for that. Anyone wants to add on to that? Okay, so we've heard from her, data still is king, and data is not necessarily quantitative, it could also be qualitative. So what you observe, now you make your decision based on that. For the students who are in the room, and at one point you'll be doing your projects and you'll need to go out there and collect data. So how do you use those data that you're going to collect, both the quantitative and the qualitative ones, to prove your case or your thesis? So data plays a role in all our lives, from student, from organization, even in our homes. I believe so. When you're doing your budget, for instance, for the month, there's a lot that you're looking at. You're looking at the quantities you're going to get, perhaps the qualities of the food you want to buy. Really, it's part of our life in every sphere that we go in. All right, so moving along, ladies. There's a saying that goes like this. A wise man or a wise person learns from his mistake. A wiser person learns from others' mistake, but the wisest of them all learn from others' successes. With that in mind, what is your approach to learning from risk-taking, and how do we navigate our failures or our successes and failure, and how do we take those learnings and move forward?
So back to my story. Back to my story. So what did I learn? So first of all, I think as much as I remember when we had our first I think webinar with Dottie, and she asked, it was Debbie and I, she asked us, do you take calculated risks? I think that was the question. And at that time, I was like, I think it depends. But now, after my experience, I think it's important to actually be very cognizant of what you're doing when you're taking risks. So what I learned is that I needed to have, like I said earlier, I needed to have done my due diligence. I should have known who am I really dealing with. And then I should have put in place something that would have that would have prevented me from experiencing what I did. So, what was the question? I lost myself when I started talking about Dotty.
What is your approach to learning from risks that did not pan out as expected?
No, it didn't pan out as expected. So what I learned is that it's important to know what you're dealing with and to have a backup plan. If you take a risk that you didn't and the outcome is not what you expected, at least have a plan A, B, C, the way we've had before. So it's always important to know how to navigate whatever outcome that has been presented to you that you didn't expect.
I think maybe just to go back to the presentation that Debbie did earlier, she said that failure is a stepping stone to success, and I think it's something that we often, especially women, don't take time to reflect on that. So if we don't succeed in whatever we're trying to do, we immediately lose heart and venture into something else. There's also something called perseverance. If you look at even the examples that Debbie shared, Jeff Bezos, these people persevered. They stuck it through. It wasn't smooth sailing from day one. There were highs and lows. So I think it's important for us to always remember that if you have a vision or a mission or something that you want to attain in your life, that you have to be willing to go through the ringer, to go through the hardship to get there. And it won't always be smooth sailing. One of the things that I didn't mention in my intro is also that I am a financial investor. So I invest in different business ventures. I own and run a hotel as well. And I have had to endure many risks. So, the hospitality industry during COVID suffered huge impact. We were making losses and I think at that time we were really contemplating to shut down the business because there's no customers, people are not coming. And then, I thought about the investment, everything that we'd put into making this business work. And we kept thinking, no, it'll get better. We'll get over this slump, we'll get through it. But at that point in time, I think we started now having to strategize. How do we get through this? You can't just say, oh yeah, it'll get better. You actually have to put a plan together to get it through that process. And a lot of that also requires leaning into your support network. So we reached out to some of our suppliers, came up with plans. We reached out to our marketing agents, came up with plans so that we could get through this slump that we were experiencing. And so going back to the successes and the failures, at some point you will feel like you are failing. But if you come up with a proper plan, a proper strategy, and you use the right network, you can get through it. I think even for students, if you're in school, we've all gone through that education system. There's sometimes you're like, this exam, or do I have to go through this class, or is this necessary for a career I want to achieve? But then you realize that, what? This is just a stepping stone. This is just what I need to get through now to get to where I want to be. So keeping that as your focal point, staying focused on that, I think even when you're not getting maybe the grades that you want to get so that you can, pass the class that you want to pass, you can reflect on your destination. You can reflect on the path that you want to be on to get there. So and a lot of that might be talking to your professors, talking to your fellow students. In the career workplace, it's your colleagues, it's your friends, it's your family. That support system, I think, is really, really critical in achieving those successes.
So for me, just to add on that, failure is inevitable. If you're not failing, you're not learning, and you're not growing. So what I have come to learn is to separate myself. This is a very interesting trick that I learned from a certain conference that I attended a while back. So still, it sounds cliche, but it works because everything starts from the mind. So that lady was talking about how you can be able to separate yourself from your idea. For example, you have this wonderful idea you want to go about not attaching yourself to those two ideas. So this comes to you thinking logically rather than emotionally, so that when that thing that you really want to do does not succeed, you can easily get past that. So you don't connect. I know women, we are very emotional, and this might be a very hard thing for you, for us to do, but it actually works. So find a way of detaching yourself from the idea. Don't be too attached to that beautiful idea that you have. So start thinking logically so that when the idea flops, you can be able to bounce back easily. So that's one thing that has really helped me when it comes to bouncing back from failure.
Thank you, ladies. I want to open up the forum for questions and answers. If you have any burning question that you'd like to ask the panelists, including Debbie also, who did the presentation earlier, this would be an opportunity to just ask 1 or 2 questions. And it will be interesting to know what your background is, because we are also trying to ensure that what you're communicating here also sinks in, whether you're a student or a career person, so that we are well-rounded in what we are discussing. So is there anyone who has a burning question that we can quickly just ask and learn from each other?
And I think as we wait, I was wondering, for me, I'm also very passionate about young women, especially in college. So, and I would think the way we perceive risk may not be the same way you perceive risk. And I believe that's why our moderator also just wants you to, because I think what your experiences are very different from us when we were in college, for example. So we are very happy and privileged to be here today. And we feel like we don't want to go back without fulfilling maybe a need or a question or something that you would like us to help you. We are all women who want to hold our sisters' hands so that we also see you grow to be who you want to be. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. We are here to help you. We were helped by others and we want to also pass that along.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm so grateful to be in this session today. My name is Catherine. I run a social enterprise called Ajira Yangu Initiative. It's an initiative where I deal with young women in construction industry, and I frontier their way to getting a footing in the industry. Most of them are scared, they don't know how. So we do training, we offer them support through partnership to be able to secure employment opportunities. I am so excited to be here. My question is, when you are partnering with someone and you are the person who is taking most of the risk, how do you manage the other person so that you can be able to manage and navigate around the risk to be able to frontier big decisions? Thank you.
Thanks for the question. I'll give you my experience in that situation. Contracts work very well. They basically outline the roles and responsibilities of both parties. So I know in our culture it's a little bit frowned upon because you start ventures on a friendly note, and usually the idea is supposed to help both of you grow. But eventually, this is something serious. In fact, what you're doing is very commendable. If I'm not wrong, I think construction is the most male-dominated industry out of all industries that we know of. And so for you to be venturing into a way to get women get a foot into that industry, that's really great work. How you go about it, I think you'll need to, first of all, delineate the responsibilities between the two so that you can be able to assess the risk between the two. I've had, situations where somebody comes up with the idea, but someone else is bringing in the finance. So between the two, who owns the business? Is it the person who owns the idea, or is it the person who's actually putting money into it, right? So you have to start now really asking those tough questions. The two of you and your partner really need to sit down and delineate those responsibilities. The person who's coming with the idea, they also bring in the other resources or not, because the business won't run itself. It does need investment. It does need resources. It needs human power. So you need to figure out who's doing what. I think that way then you can start now looking at who's taking in the bigger risk. And then if you end up becoming big enough and there's shareholding, you'll be able to divide what investments each person is bringing in. So my advice would be write it down. It's data. So put that information down, and then now both of you can discuss from a black and white perspective, and then now build upon that idea.
Maybe my question to you is, do you need that person? I'm asking because sometimes we take on partners who are a baggage. So do you need the person? If when you analyze and you're able to, because if you're going to take the risks, what is the value of having this other partner? That would be my question to you. So maybe you can go and think around that together with what Judy has said. But you can answer that, if you want to, or you can, yeah. So I think if you really need that person, maybe it is now you to decide that because you need them more than they maybe need you, it's to understand the risk that you're getting into and how you can take on that risk, and how you can maybe, what's the word? You can insulate yourself. Because if you really need them, then I guess you will have to, and the contract might help. But like she said, our culture is the way it is. So, yeah, because if it's a big organization, contracts they mean something. But if it is you and I, not that we are not big organizations, you know how that sometimes can go. So it's just how you understand the person and what you think, why you think you really need to have them, and how you will now take on that risk if things go the way they go. I hope we have helped you.
Maybe just to add a teeny weeny thing. Also try, remind me your name please, Catherine. Also try and understand the mathematics of business, how business works. So if you're having this partner on board, have a candid conversation with them and just do the math. Like the investment is equal to this amount of risk. So if you're the one bringing in the bigger contribution, calculate that to the, how will I put it, to the, okay, of course you'll have a contract, but calculate it to the loss. This investment equals to this amount of loss, and also from the other party, make them understand that their contribution would be equal to this amount of loss, so that when you get into that partnership, when you start the contract, they'll have an understanding that I'm getting into this, and in case anything happens, this is what I will probably lose out of it. Yeah.
seated here. So my question is to Elaine, just cycling back to what you talked about, how to navigate failures that come with risk-taking. You mentioned that one of the ways is to try and detach yourself. Huh? So I'm trying to reflect on that and imagining how taking risks have always driven me crazy. Like for me, any moment I take risk, I will walk, talk, dream, like it's all over. Like I don't overcome that until I'm sure I've gotten to the bottom end of it. So how do you manage to practically detach yourself from a risk and only wait to see the results? So that should it fail, you're not that much badly impacted. I'd really love to hear more about that.
Wow. I was once there. And for me, I'm also this type of person. When I dream something, I saw somewhere that we were told that nowadays we should not dream, that dream belongs to the sleepers, those who like sleeping. But anyway, I'm also someone who, when I start dreaming something, I will talk about it. Even when I'm sleeping, I will just be thinking about it. I will want to talk about this thing to everyone and anyone. So if you're in this situation right now, then it might be hard for me to tell you, don't detach yourself, because you're already too much attached to this specific idea. But probably going forward, when it comes to then the next idea, try and not, how will I say this? You know, for example, when you have a new guy, and yeah, probably you've gone through a lot of character development and you're telling yourself that this time I will not fall for this guy this much. I will keep myself safe. I will protect my mind. I will protect myself at all costs. So it's just the same. Probably it's not a good way to say this, but you can take that specific idea as this new guy that you don't want to fall too much for. So you begin being cautious with it. And that's where calculated risk comes in. So when it comes to that, now start laying out the pros of this idea versus the cons of that specific idea. So now when you do that, you'll start thinking logically instead of now emotionally, because when you are emotional, we usually think of the good side. Yeah, we are usually on our high horse, so we are just thinking of the good side, the happily ever after. So we don't think of these nitty-gritties, the too small details. But now when you detach yourself, you put the idea up or candle, now you start analyzing it. But also don't analyze too much, because you will not end up taking that risk. So I hope that helps.
Is there any other? Ladies, okay. Let me start with the ladies or the gentlemen. We've not heard from any gentleman so far.
Well, mine is not really a question. I just want to hear your opinions about this. The lady who asked the question here almost touched it, but I'm wondering whether there comes a time when those risky things stop being risky, either because the situation has changed or you have changed. And then number two, I want to hear your opinion about the addiction for risk-taking once you know that now you can swim in the waters. Do you stop risk-taking, or you start dreaming big and you start taking even riskier risks and you keep sinking deep into the depths of risk-taking so that it becomes a never-ending part of your lifestyle? I want to hear your opinions about that.
I think I'll take the first part of it, which is basically how do you now take the risk? I think that's what I'm getting, and the reward out of it. I like also doing storytelling, like my colleague here. There's some roles that, now I'm going the career way, there's some roles that sometimes are presented to us that people have actually rejected. In the book, when you buy the book, you will read many stories that we are telling, and some of it is what I told about some of my career moves that I made that at the time looked like a suicidal move. It was a role that was not very, people didn't like it. We were not selling the core product. There was a core product and there was a different product that we were introducing in the market. And nobody wanted that role. So I decided to take it, and one of the comments that I got from one of my colleagues, that is a deadbeat job. You know, you have deadbeat fathers who don't do anything. This role will never take you anywhere. It's going to kill your career. And I'd already resigned from the other role. Now, I did this role for 3 years. It was not easy. It was not easy at all. I had to really work with so many stakeholders. Some were not believing in it. Some believed in it. Some expected extraordinary numbers from it. And it was not easy. My lessons out of that is how stretched I was as an individual. And today, I sit proudly saying that I took that role, going scared, but after really doing it for 3 years, you tell me anything about introducing a new product in the market. Tell me about marketing a product that is not needed. Tell me about training people on this product that they have no clue what it is, and it looks like, you know, it's not the core product, it's not the organization way of doing things. And was being sold through other people. I really stretched myself. So there's some roles or some risks that we take that actually stretches us out of our comfort zone. You come out of it, you are a stronger person, you're able to take up other risks. As I also said, now do you now swim in the risks? I don't know who wants to take that one.
I think becoming addicted to, first of all, once you start taking risks, I think it's years of, okay, is it years or it's experience? So you become experienced to a point because you've now become tenacious, you've become resilient. And for the risk which you take where you're consistent and it bears fruit, then that makes you have that appetite because you know that if I keep doing this thing, as long as it's a calculated risk, and at the end of the day, you're able to now see the fruit. You're seeing, anyway, it's good that I took this risk because now here is the result. So I think after time and after being let down and failed so many times, once you grow that thick skin of taking that risk, then it's like, when is the next one? Which is the next one, you know? As long as now you've been able to sit yourself down, done your math and seen this is something I can do, and we learn. Because I feel like if you never take risks, you'll never learn and you'll never grow.
So for me, I think risk and growth go hand in hand. So for example, there's someone, when you started risk taking, of course you'll start small. Probably you're starting a business, you'll start investing with probably 5,000 or 10,000. So this is mostly at that level, you'll feel that this is what I am capable of risking, 10,000. And then the business succeeds. And then it grows. The next time I'm telling you not start a business with 10,000, it will be more. So risks make you grow. And okay, there's nothing, I don't think there's something like being addicted to risks, but there's something like taking bigger risks than you took the previous time. So that's why you'll find people are at different levels. When it comes to investment, one person is injecting 10 million and the other person is injecting 1,000. So there are different levels of risk. And this person who's injecting 10 million, they started somewhere. So they did not start with that 10 million. So to me, according to my understanding, risks make you grow. And there are level of risks.
So for me, I have a high risk appetite when it comes to career growth. I even talk about it in my chapter in the book, so you can read about that. Context is everything. So when you're talking about risk, you've heard about adrenaline junkies, guys who like bungee jumping, parachuting and skydiving and everything. They have this need and, to, put their life on the line, and they have no fear, basically. I think that kind of, for me, is the underlying principle of risk-taking, is overcoming your fear. The more exposure you get over time. So I personally started experiencing risky situations, or what I perceived as risky situations, at an early age, because I was constantly finding myself in unfamiliar territory, around unknown people, doing things that I probably never thought I would venture doing. And the more I exposed myself to that, the more comfortable I got doing it, And so my fear of failure started to subside. It became smaller. And so that the risk did not become threatening anymore. I think we get threatened by the fact that we're going to fail, and we're not, the reputation is going to damage our reputation, or, so there's all these notions that we give ourselves that make us kind of fall back from taking that risk. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you get, the more you'll find yourself taking even bigger risks. And then you might not even start perceiving it as risk anymore, because risk is perception, So you might look at it as, this is just how I live my life. This is just normal for me. I can switch jobs anytime. I can put 100K, I can put $1 million here, because now you know what you're capable of. I think you know what your risk appetite is. In finance, they profile you when they're trying to give you a loan about, if you're trying to make investments, about your risk appetite. Do you like bonds, or are you the person who will go and put money in a startup company because, you feel like you can get money back anytime? So that risk appetite, I think that's something that we all get to understand more and more the more we expose ourselves in that nature.
So we can have the two more ladies behind there, and then we move on. Just come nearer, because the microphone might not get there. Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Jacqueline Mukiri. I am a teacher. I mostly deal with British curriculum students. And my question is, as a leader who wants to take a highly risky kind of business, let's say schooling, what advice would you give such a person who is afraid of the unknown?
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Marion. I'm a customer service executive at Give Directly. And I would want to ask a question on personal development risk in terms of public speaking, whereby you're given an opportunity and then you are in the midst of an audience, and then you say something that is not and then the audience can really put it rabbit in your face that this one not really belongs to, doesn't really belongs to this audience or something. And then just how do you redefine that risk, and how do you go about it, not allowing it to bury you, and not allowing, just bringing yourself out and giving yourself an opportunity to talk again, to stand again before people, and just not going silent in the midst of thinking that whatever I say might not be appropriate.
Okay. All right, who wants to go?
I think for Jackie, I just wanted to understand, were you asking about venturing in terms of starting a school as a business? Okay. Okay. So my advice would be do your research. There's a lot of information out there in terms, there's schools everywhere. Schools are being started all the time. So clearly the information is out there. So start by doing your research in terms of what does it take to start a school. Start like location, where do you want to start it, what type of school, what curriculum, what succeeds, So right now there's a trend towards moving from CBC to Cambridge. So would it be better to do a Cambridge school or CBC school because you're addressing a gap? I think there's a lot of analysis you'll have to do before you venture into that. So that would be my first feedback. And then I think once you get that information, that will give you the confidence of being able to move forward. And then, because I don't want to talk too much, in terms of the question for the panelists. So one thing is that when you're sitting on a panel, let me tell you, it's never straightforward. As much as you think you know or you have an idea of what you want to say, questions will come up and you can completely digress. They say when you fall off a bike, get back on it, right? So my feedback would be, it was a risk going out there and speaking in front of everybody. If you feel that for some reason, you didn't deliver as you wanted to, try again, collect feedback, go back to the people, if you felt like the audience didn't really understand or resonate with whatever you said, try and get some feedback around that, find out why, what was it the delivery, was it the information that you shared, then use that to improve on the next time you're given an opportunity to speak. I think if you start now addressing, we don't talk about collecting feedback a lot, but it's really important in risk-taking. You need to collect that information to find out what went wrong so that you know how to improve going forward. So I would say, yeah, next time, just take the opportunity and then use what you learned to speak again.
Okay, so my response would be to Jackie first. You're venturing into this beautiful business. So number one, just know your risk appetite, just like my co-author said. Know your risk appetite. If you're someone who will be okay starting this business with 1 million, in the event that you're not saying that things will go wrong, because I know, of course, number one, you'll have done your own research and everything. So in the event that this will not work out, will you be able to bounce back from losing that 1 million? So number one, know your risk appetite. If you feel that would be too much for you, start small. Please start with 1 room and 1 child and continue growing. And then for the other fellow panelists, this is something that has already been done. Even us, when you're seeing us here talking, we didn't start at this level. We started somewhere. Even for me, I am someone who has messed up a lot of times, but you don't beat yourself too much. Be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself too much, and also understand that you're not alone in this. All of us have done all those, have said awkward things. So yeah, you'll be better. And then another trick that I usually have when you're speaking in a forum, just try as much as possible to get information about that forum and the relevant topics, and then prepare in advance. So it will save you a lot of time.
Thanks. I don't want to overemphasize the response to Jackie because I'll just be repeating myself. But I'm interested about, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Okay, so I've actually talked about it here because I am one of those people who have really, really struggled with public speaking. So I'll just read something where I say that for many women, the decision to speak in public feels like a significant risk driven by the fear of being judged, criticized, and failing. And that's what you've described. And so this is especially true because women unconsciously internalize societal expectations and stereotypes that question our abilities, leading to internal conflict and that underestimate our skills and our potential. So I think really for you to to be able to bounce back is you have to forgive yourself, because they'll say whatever they'll say. You said you spoke out of context, and that's okay. We make mistakes, but like Aileen said, next time just prepare better. I think it's always important to ask questions to the organizer, like what are my expectations? We were bullying Eunice before this, like Ebu, tell us what you're going to ask us. Then she said, no, I want us to be as authentic as possible. But you know, different events take different shapes. So it's important to just find out from the conveners, what are my expectations? What am I speaking on? Don't feel shy to ask. Yeah, so just be very open so that you try to be very relevant. But in case you make mistakes, we make mistakes. When I first started talking in public, my voice used to shake, like literally shake. And then I used to make sure I read everything I'm talking about. So I'm slowly learning how to not read from my notes as much. So it's a journey, and don't beat yourself up.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was a very good session. As we close, ladies, might you be having a parting shot, something that you leave with the audience to, go home with?
I'll just summarize one. For me, I always say, you guys, I'm sure you know, especially the young ones, you know the noise cancelling earphones. So I always say, when you're in this space, you're taking risks, whether personal, professional, just put on those noise cancelling earphones.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for me, what I would like to say is let's learn from the men. Yeah. Because for them, they usually have, men usually go for it. They don't think twice, and they most of them chest pump themselves, like, I can do this, ninaweza. So let's learn from them. I think, to me, that's a good trait, because it helps you, like, just going for it. Yeah.
So mine would be, the world is your oyster, so there's endless possibilities out there. I think you should not limit your scope, venture out, get out of your comfort zone. You will be amazed at what you can achieve.
Thank you, ladies. Please clap for them. They've done a wonderful job here. We are grateful to have you, ladies. Now I can let you be as I introduce the next person. So I'm going to introduce our next speaker. And she's going to take us through challenges in risk taking. So what to watch out for. So it's a very interesting topic to handle. And it will be none other than my fellow co-author, Joyce Wango. So Joyce Wango, I'm going to just read a bio about her. It's important that you know who we are seeing on the podium here. So Ms. Joyce Wango is a transformative leader and a dedicated advocate for organizational excellence and quality education. She has over 14 years of experience transforming educational and non-profit organizations across Africa, Asia, and Europe. Known for her commitment to delivering excellent results, her people-centered approach has set her apart as a thought leader in institutional growth and change management. Joyce has a passion for servant leadership and community service. Her commitment to making a difference extends beyond her professional roles, and she serves as she serves on the school board in a home community. As an avid adventurer, the risk takers, Joyce has submitted Mount Meru, Mount Kenya twice, and Mount Kilimanjaro. Hey, Joyce. Her vision for educational and social transformation inspires others to reach new heights, personal and professional. I'd like to introduce her here so that she can come and take us through this very interesting topic.
Thank you. Okay. It's a good thing I'm not in heels. Not my... Is this working? It's good? Okay. Can you guys hear me? Yes, now it's working. Good afternoon. It's afternoon now. So I've already been introduced, so I will not belabor that I'm Joyce Wangu. But I always start with a story about my name. Not the other one for last time. So my cousins call me Wangu Wangu. If you're not Kikuyu, you'll call my name as Wangu. In campus, people used to call me my Joyce. And they said if I ever got married to somebody in the Wako family, what would my name be? Joyce Wangu Wako. Aki boy, that joke has gone whoosh. Anyway, it's nice to be here. It's good to see all of you. Because I'm in education and I've heard there's a fellow educationist here. You'll be moving the slides for me, right? Okay. I want to start with questions. I like to talk to people. So there are four women on this screen. And I want 4 people to tell me who are these and just what you know about them. Just volunteer. Anybody? It's okay, whatever you know. I see 1. I want 4 hands, then we'll know who's answering. That's 1. 2. Who's the 3rd one? 3. Who's number 4? Don't worry, if you get the one we don't know, we'll help you. That's number 4. Where's the microphone? Just come, because I think the cord is a bit short. Just come. Come, let me know who are these. I'm a teacher. I would have my... You can tell.
Wangari Maathai. I'm actually Catherine Wangari. So she's a champion as an environmentalist, and she pioneered so many things, and also a Nobel Prize winner. Yeah, and I am inspired by that woman.
So am I. Good. She features in my chapter.
Okay. I know 2, Oprah Winfrey and Wangari Maathai. So for Wangari Maathai, she said she was actually an environmentalist, and she won a Nobel Prize. And for Oprah Winfrey, all I know is she came from a very humble background, and she's a women vocalist. She also has a show. Yeah.
Yes, she does. Good work. Clap for her. Clap for her. Who was number 3? Msi panic. Don't panic if it gets the ones you don't know.
Hi. My name is Jackie. I think I'll still repeat the same, Oprah Winfrey. I think for me what stands out for her is the Oprah Winfrey Show. Her boldness to call out women and inspire confidence among women, but also Wangari Maathai in terms of her boldness to even face a male-dominated society, and she took a risk of her life to fight for the trees and environment. Yeah.
Clap for her, please. Clap for her. One more. Yeah, it's okay. So it's okay. No, who knows the other 2? It's okay. Tell us who is she? Yeah. It was intentional. I put it there intentionally. I didn't want you to get 100%. I'm those teachers. So anyway, these are women. I picked random women who've taken risks in their lives, and that's why we know them, because they did something many people were not willing to do. Wangari Maathai is really behind the lungs of Nairobi. Okay, from here I think it's Ngong Hills, but on the other side of Nairobi, because of Karura Forest, that's why we have fresh air. Were it not for that one forest, it would be chaotic. Let me not lie to you, because of all the carbon dioxide, it's absorbing the trees, we get the oxygen. Oprah Winfrey, she used to be a host in a talk show in Chicago, and she left. She left and started the Oprah Winfrey Show. And I think in the second year, it was in 1986. In her second year, that is 1988, she hosted neo-Nazis on her show. Just to get, Nazis were they were not liked. Maybe just call it that. So to invite them and to allow them to speak their side of the story, and that's what made her show blow up in 1988. So Rosa Parks, yes, she, catapulted the civil rights movement. As Judy said, she refused to get, there was a woman, a white woman, there was a part for white people and a side for colored. So the white side was full, and one lady told Rosa Parks she needs to get off her seat to make a seat for her, and she said no. And that is what struck the civil rights movement. This lady is called Malalai Joya. She's from Afghanistan. I put her there because I love education, and in Afghanistan right now, because of the Taliban, girls don't go to school. Are you aware? So she started underground small schools to teach girls how to read and write. And she ended up becoming a member of parliament. Then she called out the Taliban in parliament that they are warlords and criminals, and she was striked off that position, and now she's in exile. She can't even go to her own country. But that's a risk. Everybody there took a risk. So today, what am I going to be talking about? ELOs. We're going to learn. We're here to learn. Today, I want us to understand the key challenges that you're going to face in risk-taking. And I'm glad I came at this point because I've gotten to hear a lot of questions that have been addressed. And also, we're going to highlight some of the ways in which you can overcome them. So as you're just thinking, where you are right now, think of a risk that you've taken in your life. Because I think all of us have taken risks. You may not be consciously thinking you have, but I call this, have you moved? Oh, sorry, to the other slide, because I'm looking at it here. This is the wheel of life. The wheel of life has very many categories. It's your health, it's your finances, your personal growth, your careers. It's a lot. It's even fun and recreation. Just write down somewhere a risk you've taken. Having a baby is a risk, eh? You know that? You could die. And I'm biased to the women today. And happy International Women's Day, by the way. I wasn't sure it's a mixed audience, but I can see we are more of women. So you'll see I'm a bit biased. But just think about it and write it down somewhere. So why exactly do we take risks? And I don't want to belabor the point of not taking foolish and reckless risks, and that they must be careful and calculated. But I will say this. You take a risk to get to the other side, right? And we are all scared. This gap there is scary. And it's okay to be scared because you can fall, you can trip. She's been wearing heels. That girl, that's not very wise, right? I would expect her to be in sneakers and a t-shirt and tights for her to jump across. But the only way to get to that side of success, you're going to have to do some scary things. And when you're doing some scary things, you're going to face some challenges as a person, in the community that you're in, which brings us to this. The first set of challenges that I'm going to address today is fear. Fear and self-doubt. I think we've talked about this a lot. And as women particularly, I think it's how we are cultured. I'm not very sure. We're not very confident or very brave. Some of us are. And with time, it's a muscle. When I was advertising this forum in my socials, I said some of us have made some spectacular stumbles. And we have. And it's a muscle. You take one risk, you keep taking another one until you get better at it. So what challenges come with this? There's imposter syndrome, which I know many of us actually touch in the book. You feel like you don't deserve to be in a particular place. Like you're in a boardroom and you're like, oh, these people are so learned. They're so better than me. They're so bright. They speak so eloquently. And I'm just fumbling. The fear of failure. And someone has asked about it. You can actually jump and you will fail. But then you you get up and dust yourself off and move on. But it's something that's there. There's also self-limiting beliefs. Like, again, I'm not good enough. Like, the things you keep telling yourself over and over in your head, actually they come to life. So be very careful the things you're telling yourself. Then they self-sabotage. And I think I've seen this a lot in women. You get to a very good place and somehow you do something so silly. Really. You can self-sabotage even in relationships, I have to tell you. But sometimes it's not conscious, it's very subconscious, and it's something that you're telling yourself, maybe I don't deserve to be here, so let me shake up the waters a little bit so that I can protect myself and not move to the next level. But please be aware that this exists as well. And another thing also is low self-esteem. I think confidence is one thing that will open doors for you. You know, the thing with men, and you've been told to learn from the men, they apply for positions when they're how many percent? They've met what percentage of the qualifications? 30. I think it's 50 or 60. But women, you want to meet 100%. I have to have the masters. I have to have a CPAK. I have to have because you're not looking at the other things that you already have. And at the interview panel, it's not just about the paperwork. They're going to look at the other things you've achieved in your life. But if you're looking at the advert, you're like, Sinai, I don't have this, and then you don't apply. If you don't get your paper across the door, you're never going to get called for that interview anyway. But how do you mitigate this? And I'm glad I've seen there's a career coach in the room. Who is that? There she is. Please get her contacts. Yeah, she could help. So you have to build confidence, as I said. This thing about affirmations, I've seen women very keen on it. Nowadays, there are stickers, in your bathroom mirror. Every time you wake up in the morning and you're telling yourself, I'm good at this. There's also vision boards. I have never done a vision board. Someone needs to help me to do it. But it's getting it's a thing now, right? So you visualize what it is that you want to achieve in the wheel of life. Again, your career, your personal life. You want to travel, so you put it down there. And again, I said support system. That quote is by one of those women. Do the one thing you think you cannot do. Fail at it, try again, do better the second time. Only people who never tumble are those who never mount the high wire. You would really have to put yourself out there. So the other challenge here, and I'm standing between you and lunch, so there's a lot to cover, but it's 10 slides, but we're doing well. The lack of support. So when you're taking risks, depending on the kind of risks you're taking, for some of us, I think, when you're deciding, say, you want to quit a job and start a business, your family is going to ask you questions, right? Like you're earning this money, and now you're telling us, okay, I've decided, no, I want to take a break. I want to invest in 1, 2, 3. They're going to ask you. Workplace, there's a lot of maybe politics, or I don't want to say toxicity. That word has been overused with time. But yeah, toxic and narcissist. Everybody's saying it. I don't even know what they mean at this point. But at the workplace, there are barriers. Maybe you have a boss who's not putting you out there. Like they're not allowing you in the boardroom, or you're not getting a chance to speak. So in as much as you want to take that risk, the opportunity is just not there. Societal expectations. Again, I'm leaning towards women here. Women are known to be soft. They're known to be agreeable. They're known to not cause trouble. You just be nice, be kind, sit there in your corner. Don't ruffle the feathers. I've always said if a woman speaks up, and we'll get to that slide, they're told they're being what? Aggressive. Like if a woman speaks up, they're aggressive. But if it's a man, he's assertive. He's asserting his point. But you're being aggressive. So I think those societal expectations of women have really held us back in terms of the risks we take, especially when you're younger. And I'm so glad we have a younger audience. Personality types. I put it as a challenge because many people say I'm an introvert. So I'm an introvert. So I don't know how to talk in front of people. I'm an introvert. So I'll do the work behind the scenes, then you go and present for me. And then who gets the credit, by the way? The person who spoke. Nobody's going to know you're the one who's there crunching numbers, and then you give somebody your work to present for you. I say early life mistakes because it's going to point to some strategies there. I wish this information era was during our time, because I think the young girls now are exposed to so much, and they would not make some mistakes that some of us did. And I say mistakes that are tied even maybe to your personal life, Because imagine if you got a kid as a teenager or in university. You know you have to rethink your entire life, right? You know that? Because you're catching up. You're going to be playing catch up. Because the money that you have, instead of investing it, you're first raising the kid, right? Which strategies are we using to overcome these challenges? Networking. I've had that over and over again, even here. Get to know the person sitting next to you. Duko and I have had a conversation. I think you're already thinking how we can work together. And, you know, it also tells you, oh, Kumba, you've also gone through this and you have failed and you've managed to get up and dust yourself off. You get to hear people's stories. Get allies. Allies are people who are moving in the same direction as you, you know, and you can work together and achieve whatever it is you're trying. Seek out mentors. There's a difference between a coach and a mentor, right? I think a mentor is someone they're way more advanced than you, so they've made some of this. Learn from others. I always say you don't have to make your own mistakes to learn from them. Learn from the mistakes of other people. Then now you make your own new mistakes. Marry right. Please, I will say. Let me tell you the one decision as a woman. I'm not married, by the way, but the one decision, because I've seen my siblings, I've seen my friends. If you have a supportive spouse, you're way ahead of very many people, because you'll have a shoulder to lean on. You'll have somebody back up if things go wrong, but also peace of mind to pursue your dreams. But if you have somebody who's holding you back, it's going to be chaotic. So young girls, if you have not gotten there yet, choose your partner wisely. Choose the father of your children wisely. It's better to do some of these things when you have a stable, life at home, and cultivate good friendships. Sometimes your friends will come in and they will really support you. Even you're trying to bounce off your ideas. Will this work? What do you guys think? Not that they're going to influence your decision, but you get to hear different perspectives. But you have to have genuine friendships for that. Don't just be on social media talking to strangers. You can meet them, get to know them, sit down, have coffee, and build that support structure. Another set of challenges that we're going to talk about here is the money. Because money is what makes the world go around. Money is important, but the other thing I've learned about women, we don't like talking about money. I don't know why. Okay, now we are changing, but I don't know how we were brought up, but it's a challenge really. So sometimes taking risks requires that you have money to set aside. To start that business, you need money. To quit a job and do something, maybe you want to go skydiving or you want to travel the world, you're going to need money for that. So you may not have access to capital. You don't know how to plan your finances. You don't know how to budget. I said fear of money conversations. But how are you going to overcome these challenges? Financial literacy. I think now there are even online courses. There are so many places you can learn about money. Just get to know where to put money in the right places, how to save, all those 80-20 or 70-30, those rules that you hear about, so that you can invest smartly and also assess your risks. Because I've seen, again, many people get caught up in, bad loans. There's a good loan and there's a bad loan. So learn about money. Credit score. There's this Tala. There's GM, Shwari. You're doing what? Then you're caught up in so much and people are knocking on your door. You will not have enough capacity mentally to take risks because you're just pay Peter, what we call it? Borrow Peter to pay Paul. You're just moving money around. And learn how to save. Again, I'm biased towards women. As a woman, I don't even know who said this, but I've had it many times. As a woman, you need to have and make your own money. Money gives you the ability to walk away from situations you don't like. Please keep that in mind. Who are these women? I'm back to the crowd. Other people. I'm back to my audience. Hands, there's still 4. Different people, 1. I'm biased towards the audience. I'll come back to you. I'll come back. 1. I've seen the guy good. 3. You didn't talk? 4. Sawa. We are 4. 1. Let's start us off. Is 1, 2, 3, 4. Just tell us who are they, what do you know about them? So something. Yes, just 1. What do you know about glad you said Caroline. You know, you can't call Caroline Carol. Yeah, you can't. That's not her name. She won't answer. I was waiting for that one. That's what I wanted to hear that. Yes, madam? With it. Oh, you don't know the other one? Okay, who knows the other person? I want someone who hasn't spoken. Sorry. Someone who hasn't spoken. Who we have 1, 2, 3, corner. Who knows her? It's still you. Okay, fine, take it. I know that would say something.
Yes, about Sylvia Mulenge, she was also voted the best CEO of the year this year. Yep.
Clap for everybody who spoke. That's true. So I'm back to societal expectations and gender bias. This had to have a slide of its own, because I think all of us, we know all the positives, but I think we also know the things that have been said about these women, right? Because they've been as ambitious as they are, or as aggressive, or as abrasive, whatever the word that has been used, we know a negative side, which I'm not really going to touch on. But I like how they've been able to turn around that negativity into something. Like Millie is riding on the bad girl narrative, and she's riding it hard, by the way. She's like, be a bad girl. And there's a book that Nice Girls Don't. It's an amazing book. If you have not read it, just read it. It actually has it's tips. It's very practical, and I like such books. Get it and read it. I think Caroline, I know now she left Radio Africa, and she's doing her own thing. I know now she's a mom. She's adopted children. But many people talked about certain things. But she's a woman who, if you think radio from the get-go, morning show, you remember Carol. Line. I said Carol. Martha Karua, she's vying for president in 2027. Do we know that? Munajua, do you know? I don't want to campaign. This is not political. But I know Martha, people still crucify her for what happened, that Kibaki time. But I like that she stands her ground. She defends her position. She said, had we not done what we did, things would have gotten worse. And Sylvia Mulenge, this woman, I think I have to talk about her a bit longer, because you know Sylvia applied for CEO of Safaricom and she didn't get it. Sylvia was actually Bob Collimo's mentee. Everybody thought, because she was the chief customer officer or something. She was really in the second line of command, I remember. And she didn't get it. Yes, she was disappointed, but she actually left Safaricom. And then she was appointed to go and head Vodacom in Tanzania. Does anybody know what happened at that point? She was denied a work permit because they said, are there no Tanzanians who can do this job? No, these are challenges. So again, what did she do? She didn't give up. There's an MTN. MTN kept knocking. I think she'd had a conversation with somebody in the lobby at the airport, in the lounge, and they came knocking, like, oh, there's this lady, oh, MTN. And now she's doing, have you seen the culture she's built at MTN? Like, I keep saying this should just be Safaricom. I'm not saying Peter Ndegwa is not a good guy. I just listened to him. Who talked to him recently? Someone said, you mentioned somebody. It's you? Someone talked about the Safaricom CEO today. Oh, there's an M-Pesa CEO. Oh, M-Pesa is a different company. M-Pesa is under Safaricom. Oh. M-Pesa has a CEO. Oh, I didn't know that. I know there's Safaricom Foundation and M-Pesa Foundation, but I thought M-Pesa is under Safaricom. Oh, now it's grown bigger than the mom. Wow, amazing. Peter Ndegwa is nice, yes, but I wish he had taken that leadership. So what am I saying? These ladies all found a way. We've talked about resilience and about bouncing back, not being beaten down by these challenges, building a personal brand around it. And I was telling to Nduko, and someone said it, talk about the things you are doing. or the things that you have achieved, how else are we going to know? Say if I'm looking for the next CBO someone, would I know what she does? So say what you're doing. Say you're good in IT or you want to start a school. What's her name? The lady? Her. You're who? Jacqueline. Just because you said that, I know like 3 people we're in class with who have their own schools. See me. I will connect you to them. And you'll know where to start. But you just have to say what you're doing, and then we figure it out from there. So as I conclude, because we're coming to an end, failures and setbacks. I think there's the lady who asked a question about public speaking. We all have a fear of failing, like spectacularly. I have failed spectacularly, by the way. That one, Nioneni Kando, that one I can talk about. It see me on the side. And then there's the pressure to succeed. We call it this overnight, success, and this microwave generation that wants things instantly. Let me tell you, some of us have been around for 10, 14 years before we go to this point where I can stand and say, I have substance that I can share. Trust the process. Pole. Don't start jumping like Kina Khalif Cairo, my friend. Now see where the guy is. Because you wanted to whoosh. He took a risk, but was it calculated? No. That was a very reckless risk. You cannot be taking people's money. You know the story, so that's reckless if you ask me. So people have talked about this. Embrace failure. Failure is fail a lot. Fail and learn from it. Just and my second last slide is about challenge mitigation. How do you identify the risks in business? Oh, wait, you've gone. All right, sorry. In business, we have this risk mitigation. You either accept the risk, you transfer the risk, you reduce the risk. There are many. So here, identify what challenges are, analyze them, plan around them, learn from others. This is I'll even say embrace a growth mindset. But my favorite sentence, that one, it's on my WhatsApp status. Fail early, fail fast, fail often, fail forward. Fail, just fail. Because every time you fail, you're learning something, you're getting better. It's a muscle, practice it. And finally, as we conclude, we talked about the wheel of life. What are you thinking of doing right now as a person? What do you want to do in your personal life? Are you trying to start a family? Are you trying to start a business? I'm trying to open something because it told me about many kind of risks that women take. Think about it for yourself. Are you trying to leave a job? Are you applying for a high-level position? Are you speaking out against a certain injustice? Are you pursuing a passion project? Are you moving to a new country? What is it that you want to do? Write it down somewhere. Put a timeline to it. And as I say, just start. The path will be clear from that point. Just start. Those were my 2 cents. That's my time. Asanteni sana. All right. Thank you, Joyce, for that. See. Thank you. Risk-taking, climbing with heels. Thank you, Joyce, for that. I don't even know whether I can even come up with anything after that. You've really taken us through that very well done. And the use of images and storytelling, I think it's a fantastic way of delivering the information. It stuck with us, and now when we come out, we will remember that. Thank you for that. All right, so we are coming to an end of the first half of our conversation around the topic of taking risk. And we are just about to break for lunch. And we needed to have some announcement. So someone is going to do a bit of an announcement, and then we take a lunch break. Okay. So that has changed, so we are going to do that after lunch. So lunch, we are now going to break for lunch. And we come back at what time, Doti? What time is it now? Okay, so it's 1, so we come back by 2 o'clock, if you don't mind, so that we can do the next sessions. And we'll have a bit of a Q&A.
and networking. Networking is very, very important. You've seen what guys are already picking from each other. Let's collaborate. I think somebody mentioned something about collaboration. You did that. Because sometimes you want to do something and somebody else has already started it. The beauty of startups is they know how things happen. So when you collaborate, you're able to quickly learn from each other. So it was fail, fast, fail, early, fail, often, and fail forward. So that's a new catchphrase that you are getting. So learn from each other. Don't walk the journey alone. And so we have the break. Let's see you after 1 hour. Thank you guys for being awesome. The interview will be where?
Shika hii. No, kutengenezea backdrop. Simama hapo. Uonekane kabisa.
I'm so confused. I know. They are not aligned. Kidogo tu.
No, no, no. I'm just answering one or two questions then, because I'm. So I'll see you.
Who's recording? Oh, tunasimama na yeye. Shwari. Hizi inanikomputa. Do we need silence in the room? Do we need silence in the room? Hello? Attention, attention. We request your silence, please. We request your silence, please. Good afternoon. How has the summit been so far? We want to talk a little bit about that, so we request that you keep silent. Thank you. So Priscilla, one of our speakers today at the We Took the Risk Summit that is happening here at Tangaza University. I just wanted to find about your experience with today's summit. What is one thing that you would consider a takeaway for you as much as you have been one of the speakers?
I think for me, first of all, let me thank Zion Pearl for this opportunity. And also the fact that I'm one of the co-authors of this series that you're just starting of taking risks. So my takeaway is that we still need to demystify risk, and it looks like it cuts across, but perception is different depending on where someone is, either the experience they've had with taking risks or how they want to go forward with their career progression or even their personal development. So for me, I feel like we are still at that early stage of demystifying what risk is for different people and at different levels. So it's a really good platform that you've started, and I hope to see more of this.
Thank you, Priscilla. I also would just want to know, from the questions that the audience ask, you can be able to pick something. What is one thing that is coming out for you from some of the questions that came about?
I think the one thing that has stood out is that as women, we are still very scared of taking risks. And so it's like the more we talk about it, I think the more we will be able to make more women feel comfortable to take risks. So what has stood out is maybe the imposter syndrome, which cuts across. Yeah, so that's what I would hope that this series will be able to help us become comfortable with risk taking.
Thank you, Priscilla. This is something that we're going to do again and again. What do you think we can do differently to make this more impactful?
Okay. Maybe have more. I'm happy that we got to field questions from the audience. Yeah. And I think because I've said that we are still trying to understand what risk is. I remember when we first started and Mr. Dosso said that when we talk about risk, we look at risk analysts at that professional level. But now when we bring it down to say, for example, women, it's just getting to understand what the people in the audience also want to hear. So we may have our own way of understanding and explaining risk, but just understanding also what the audience want to learn. So I think more audience engagement, maybe questions that can be sent before, that would also be helpful.
Thank you so much, Priscilla. It was good having you as one of our speakers today. Looking forward to doing more of this together with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so Debbie Hassan is one of our speakers today. Debbie, it has been our honor having you as one of the speakers. And of course, she's also one of the co-authors of the book, We Took the Risk. So Debbie, what has the experience been like for you today?
Thank you so much, Dottie. I love the experience. It was good to connect with people of different ages and just talk about risk and how to reposition and pivot from it. I love the question they asked and how involved the audience is. I love what my other authors were able not to present as well.
We have people who have been watching us online. Would you have something to tell them? Would you prefer them to come in person or to keep it online?
No, I'll tell them come in person.
Yeah.
They're missing the opportunity to network with the people.
Exactly.
I think that's one of the key things that I've noticed from here. We're able to connect with the audience and then they're able to get to talk to us. Apart from what we're speaking up in the stage, we're also able not to connect with them off the stage as well. And I think that's a big plus for people who are in-house, for people to come for the event. Yeah.
Thank you, Debbie. This being an opportunity for us to learn, as much as you have been one of the speakers, do you have any takeaways?
I love the location. I'll say, and also I think we got the right audience. The mix, we're able to not too corporate or not too young. We're able to get the mix of it. So I think we're able to now connect with everyone, from the youth to the older generation to the millennials. I think the generation gap was good. I'll also say, I think getting partners who can work with us was fantastic.
Awesome.
Yes, so you don't have pressure about where to hold the event, but having someone who can help, and we really appreciate Tangazo University for doing that for us.
Thank you, Debbie. It was awesome having you. Looking forward to more of this together. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dottie.
Niliona nani Ruto akiwa na kama hii, nikasema huyu Doso kumbe anajua hizo vitu. Shida yako tu ni sifa tu, ukabwa tu kitu kidogo tu hivi. Sawa, hiyo story imeisha hivyo. Tumemaliza. It depends on the eyes that is looking.
But the eyes depend, but me niko. Unasikia sauti? 1 2.
I feel like touching your head.
Ngoja niulize hizo maswali.
Sasa wewe nakuuliza nini surely? There's some hair here. Can you press it down? No, just pressing it down. Why are you mishandling your hair? And the way you've been feeling sweet. I don't know who's making you feel sweet like that.
The goodness of the Lord.
You're unaekelea the goodness of the Lord.
Sawa, unasikia sauti?
You can hear us. Are you going live?
You stand inside the booth.
Sasa nakuuliza nini surely?
So you want me to ask myself questions?
So together with me here is Mr. Doso, the founder of Zion Pearl Publishers and the She Leads project, under which we are also hosting the We Took the Risk Summit. Mr. Doso, it's an honor having you today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for creating this platform. And you've been here since we began the summit today. How has your experience been?
Well, I'll talk about this in two ways. Number one, it's a very exciting feeling to have, because this summit has been a dream in the pipeline for a while now. We've been thinking about it, talking about it, planning about it, and now today it has happened. It is the first of the many summits you're going to do that is attached to a particular project that we have done, and we are so glad that we dreamt it, we risked it, and now it is happening. Number two, the lessons that have been shared from the experiences that we are hearing from the speakers we have today are quite deep and useful, because they're drawing from their life experiences. So they're not reporting to us what they read in the books. They're giving us examples of what has happened in their lives. And that makes it possible for us to actually begin to reposition this whole concept of risk-taking. Because as it is, many people think that risk-taking is a risky business. But when we see the people who have gone through it, and we see how well they are doing, and we also see that actually risk-taking did not kill them, we get encouraged, we get inspired, and we also get challenged to want to try something like that.
I love that risk-taking did not kill them. So actually risk-taking does not kill.
It doesn't.
What would you say to someone who has not yet interacted with this kind of conversation that we've been having for a while now, and of course, culminating in this summit?
Well, I think they are missing a lot, because there is something that happens when a conversation like this becomes a part of your experience. It changes your perception about life. It actually repositions how you approach life and how you deploy yourself around certain things. Because from what I know, unless you have been triggered into something, most likely you will not be, that thing will not be a part of your life experience. So if there are people who are dreaming dreams, or dreaming big, or desiring to do things, and they are being held back by forces of fear, or forces of uncertainty, or forces of the opinions of people, or what other people will judge them, that in a way delays the happenings that are supposed to happen to them. So that if there is something that was supposed to happen to them maybe today, and they have not known what we have known, it probably will not happen today. It will happen either tomorrow, next week, or next month. And as that happens, they lose the benefits that they would have started experiencing if they started engaging today. So my challenge to anybody listening to this, or anybody out there who is desiring stuff and they are still yet to engage because they are afraid of something, or they are not competent yet in risk-taking, I would challenge them to look for the book, read the book, and listen to this conversation, because it's actually out there on our YouTube channel. Be able to get some few tips and nuggets here and there, and use them to trigger yourselves into productive action.
Out of the many lessons we have had today, of course, you're saying there have been some really, impactful kind of conversations happening here. What is your current perspective on risk-taking?
Well, I think risk-taking is a good thing, and that's why we are standing behind this project. If it was not a good thing and there was no value in it, we probably would not have invested ourselves in it. Risk-taking is a good thing, and the most important thing about what we know now is that it can be used as a strategy for growth, so that the people who are risk-takers, they seem to be growing faster, better, and they seem to be producing results that are much, much better than other people who are not engaging in risk-taking. So risk-taking is a good thing. It should be embraced. Of course, we have heard from the speakers that it's good to be intelligent when you're taking risks. It's good to calculate it. It's good to be careful about that. But they are not telling us, don't do it. because they know the value that they have generated out of it. So anybody listening to this, my challenge to you is that consider risk-taking as one of the strategies you're going to use for achieving your dreams for the year 2025.
You've talked of the book, We Took the Risk. Will you tell your audience how they can get a copy if they need one?
Yes, that's a very good question. We have this book on Amazon. If you are listening to us from anywhere around the world, if you just go to Amazon and search the title, We Took the Risk, you will see there are actually 2 books in the world that have that name. The first one was done by a group of American authors. I think they were trying to they were studying the people who were involved in the early stages of the creation of the American nation, which is a beautiful book. And then there is this one, We Took the Risk, that has been done by these women leaders from within Kenya, that is discussing the value of risk-taking as a strategy for growth and leadership impact, which is a very good thing. Other than Amazon, you can visit the Zion Pearl website. Under the Zion Pearl website, there is a Zion Pearl bookstore. If you land there, you will see a number of books that have been done by Zion Pearl publishers. And one of the books you will see there is We Took the Risk. It is white in color, and it has a beautiful looking appeal. And once you land there and you click where necessary, you will be led to what you're supposed to do, to the place where you can be able to place your order, and then your delivery will be done within 24 hours.
Thank you, Mr. Doso. So what are you promising us in the future?
Well, because this is the start, we wanted to do this to set things into motion. We are going to bring together a bigger conference and a bigger summit and a lot more speaker of the caliber that we have listened to today, because our intention is to reposition the whole concept about risk and send very strong signals to different stakeholders that can help us to, translate what we are saying and what we are learning into training programs, into coaching programs, into conversations in workplaces, in homes, and in different spaces where people are found. And especially those who are doing personal development programs, if they can include risk-taking as part of the programs that they are running to help people unlock their potential, then that will be a very good thing. So the future is bigger because now we are going to take even bigger and bolder risks.
Thank you, Mr. Doso. It was nice talking to you. Looking forward to the bigger and better summits.
Thank you so very much, Dottie. It's been a pleasure.
Bye.